I'm national lead for BoxWise, and at the moment we're expanding. So we're looking for new clubs to join us. And basically, we are a non-profit company funded by the Nick Maughan Foundation, and we work with England boxing clubs, and we pay the clubs to deliver sessions for.
Hi everyone, this is Sasha from Women's Fight News, sponsored by Champions Memorabilia, and I am joined by Rachel Bauer. Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Sasha. Hi everyone.
Good. Obviously, take two. I know we have just started, and I did forget to record, but we're here now. So, introduce yourself, because obviously you've got a great story, and I'm sure everyone's keen to listen.
So my name is Rachel Bauer. I'm an amateur boxing coach at Rathbone and Holly ABC in London. I'm also a coach on the England Talent Pathway. I mentor on the RARE programme, which is the female coach development scheme with England Boxing, and I'm also on the England Boxing coaching subcommittee.
So you're not busy at all. You've got nothing going on. Okay, so tell us a story of how you got into boxing then.
So I was quite late to boxing. I was 23 when I first started. I'm a police officer, that's my day job. And I joined the force, shift work, had lots of time off through the day, through the week, had nothing to do, decided that I was going to take up the sport, and decided that I wanted to represent the Met at something. So one of the guys on my team heard me saying this and suggested that I try boxing. He told me that he would train me, he'd coach me, he'd do my corner. He told me about this really prestigious competition called the Lafone Cup. It's the oldest boxing tournament in the UK, I think. It's a big inter-police tournament. So I told absolutely everyone who would listen that I was entering the Lafone Cup. We went training, and on the first occasion I realised that he was completely full of crap. He wasn't even a qualified coach. It wasn't the boxing he was interested in, but I told him that I was going to compete. So I sacked him off, and I called up a coach, and the rest is history.
Amazing. So after that tournament then, what did you do in boxing? Obviously you continued and you competed?
Yeah, I got hooked, literally and figuratively, boxing. There weren't many girls around, so for the first couple of years it'd just be 3 or 4 fights a year, and you're boxing really good girls quite early on. I think Nina Hughes was my third fight. She went on GB and now professional boxer, very good boxer. I stuck with it, and I boxed up until about 2011. I lost. It was on the old scoring system. I lost the final of the national championships by 1 point. Then I retired the first time. I had no intention of coming back, but I moved job and found my new office opposite Fitzroy Lodge, a famous London boxing gym. So I turned up there asking if I could train for fitness, and they had me on the scales that night. And decided that I'd compete again, and I'm glad they lured me back, because I boxed for another year and I won the national championships, I won the elites, ABAs, and boxed for England.
Amazing. So definitely worth getting back into it then.
Yeah.
Was that ever, when you were saying there wasn't many girls about at times, was that like demoralizing, where it's like it's hard to keep motivated, you're not getting as many fights maybe as like the men? Is it hard to keep pushing through?
Do you know what, Sasha? I was really lucky, because early in my career I boxed for the police, and they had a really strong women's team. I think we had 1 year 7 medals in the national championships over the novice, intermediates and elites. So from the first time I stepped in the gym, I had amazing teammates and role models. I had someone who's boxing for England that I was sparring with when I'd had about 2 bouts. I was always really lucky, and there was always, we were kind of used to not having that much representation and not many bouts. We knew we had national championships, so that's what we looked forward to, and that's what we trained for. So I suppose having that end goal makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it, to push through and keep yourself motivated?
Okay. So what are you up to now then in boxing?
I've retired from competition.
Yeah.
In fact, it was about 6 years ago, 7 years ago that I retired. So I'm just purely a coach now, amateur coach. I have no interest in professional boxing, which does surprise some people.
Yeah.
I'm involved with the England talent pathway, which has been quite quiet due to COVID.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to go and assist GB on a couple of camps. It's been really good for my development as a coach as well.
Yeah, definitely. With boxing then, and female coaches, I'm just putting it out there, I don't think there's that many, are there, compared, if we look at the male side. So one for you, obviously, because my background's tennis, and it used to be very similar in tennis. You'd rock up and, I'd always be the only female coach for the most part. So with that, have you found it hard to, in a way, like keep developing, or does it in a way like set you apart from the rest?
I think personally, from my background, I used to be an assistant physio for a rail rugby team. I'm a police officer. The hobbies that I've had have been really heavily male dominated.
Yeah.
It's been quite normal for me. I understand it isn't like that for most people, but I've got to be completely honest. We've got a really good national governing body in England boxing, and I know that some of the opportunities I've been given are because I'm female. They've got various schemes in place and mentoring programs that I mentor on now, and I think we are really lucky. I mean, we're by no means there, but we are getting there, and it is getting a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I think you need them opportunities, obviously if you've got them and then you're a mentor. And I think, it's more inspiring, motivating for other women coming through if they've got someone to look up to who's currently doing it themselves.
Yeah, and just someone to have the ear of, really.
Yeah.
And with a lot of the female coaches that I know, they're highly capable, and it's just it might be a little confidence thing, or just being worried about being heard in that male environment.
Yeah. And is that one of the main barriers, do you think, with more women getting into coaching, is maybe the confidence, because there's not as many women to start off with?
Probably, yeah. Confidence is a big thing. There's also a smaller pool. Most coaches have boxed before. Maybe things will change as there is a lot more women that are participating now. Maybe it will eventually even out.
Yeah, because that's another good point, obviously, with participation's obviously massively increasing, isn't it? You do see more girls, especially younger girls, which I think is just amazing coming through. And it shows obviously what they're seeing. For instance, if you're seeing Katie Taylor on TV, that you've got that role model, you see it happening. And I think more like younger girls believe that they can be it if they can see it.
Yeah. I also really like coaching younger boys as well. And I don't do much junior coaching in my gym, but with the England stuff, I really like that, because I think we're making it normal for them.
Yeah.
They might have not had female coaches in their gym, but then they go to an England camp and they've got a female coach leading the session. I think that's really good. And we're really lucky as well that, the head of talent at England is Amanda Coulson. So again, you've got someone at the very top who's female leading the way that all these young lads are looking up to as well.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Because I think there's always a danger, isn't there? To say you're a female coach, it doesn't just mean that you're then restricted to coaching younger girls or women, because then you're always going to have that separation. It's so important. I always believe when I was a coach to have that balance. And if it was 50-50, I think it's brilliant then, because you say the kids especially are getting used to women there, women can coach, different perspective as well. I think that's always quite important. Yeah. Okay. So within England boxing, obviously we've just come from COVID. Hopefully we're starting to see the end. But how tough has that been, for amateur boxing?
It's been incredibly tough for amateur boxing. I mean, I think it all depends on if your clubs and if your coaches are playing by the rules or not. But I'm a police officer and I coach for England, so I've played by the rules, and it was tough on the boxers. We had people leave and go to clubs that were still sparring and padding and doing all the things we weren't allowed to do, but massive restrictions. A lot of clubs lost all their income. We've seen clubs that haven't opened up again. We've had boxers that have left because it's just been so long And as you know, there's been a lot of boxers that turned over as well.
Yeah.
So the sport, it has really suffered.
Mm. Yeah, I do. I've really felt for amateurs more. I mean, for every sports person, it's been very tough. But obviously, with the amateurs, I think those who had the option to go pro, of course, are going to go pro, because I think it's quite tough to just sit and wait, isn't it? Like, you don't know how long you're waiting for anymore. Yeah, it's been a shame. It has been a shame.
It's been quite hard recovering as well, because even though we were allowed to compete at the end of summer and in the new season, we've had lots of championships being put into a small space of time, which meant that there's not much room for other boxing for club shows. The officials are all burnt out because they've been, you know, midweek weekends at the shows all the time. And there's been no championships or no tournaments for novice boxers. So the newer ones are leaving as well because there's nothing around for them. You know, you can enter the intermediates where you can box someone who's had 20 bouts, but if you've only had like 2 or 3, what's around for you at the moment?
Yeah. So have you seen kind of a decrease in participation then within the amateurs?
I did. Then there's been a bit of an uptake. So my club's probably around the same level of membership pre-COVID, but we lost quite a lot of people. Yeah. It's almost like having to start over again.
Yeah.
And it's not just the boxers, it's the coaches as well. Coaches and officials. I think people have realised actually how much time, and because we all do it for free, you know, 90% of us are volunteers. People have realised I was giving my whole life to amateur boxing. Actually, I want to spend time with my kids. I want to see my partner. So we've lost quite a few good people.
Yeah, that's a shame. And I think people forget, actually, especially, you know, like you say, coaches, you're all volunteers. And I think people forget that a lot of the time. It's all done in your own time for free. And like you say, you know, you've still got to balance like your own life, a full-time job, and you're giving up the very, you know, all the rest of your time you give up to the sport, which is like quite a huge sacrifice as well.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and there's some people who've been doing this for years and years. I'm relatively new on the scene, but it really is a case of like unsung local heroes, people who've been doing it night after night. They're like parents to the boxers. Yeah. I don't think people realise how much people put in.
Yeah. And when, you know, obviously when they, you know, if they decided to leave after COVID, it's one of them where I'm sure they're then going to be appreciated once they're gone, which is unfortunate then, because they've probably, like you said, spent years and years dedicating their life to the sport. And then obviously they've thought, you know what, I need to focus on myself, and they're gone. And then that's when people miss them the most and appreciate them, I suppose. Yeah, that's a shame. So you also do some work, is it called BoxWise?
Yes. So I'm national lead for BoxWise, and at the moment we're expanding. So we're looking for new clubs to join us. And basically we are a non-profit company funded by the Nick Maughan Foundation, and we've worked with England boxing clubs, and we pay the clubs to deliver sessions for us. So we fully recognise that the coaches that are out there working with the boxers night after night, these are the people that we want doing these sessions. Everything is fully funded. We provide funding for the coach and the space, gloves, wraps, water bottles, t-shirts for the kids, meals after the sessions. And the great thing about BoxWise is that it's all about what happens afterwards. So we do 10 weeks of boxing, but what happens afterwards? So there's a pot of funding there that we can identify talented kids or young people who just need a little helping hand, and we can do things like put them through coaching courses, or fund them to retake A-levels or GCSEs, or we want to give them a little bit of a helping hand with employment or education, so they can have a bit of a lasting impact.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That sounds brilliant. So where is that involved at the minute then? What areas is that taking place in?
So we started in London with 5 venues. We expanded mid last year up into Glasgow, Manchester, Birmingham, and we had some disability campuses in Wales and Sheffield. We're opening a lot of new venues at the moment. I think we're looking to expand into Ireland as well. So I'm just going to use this as a bit of a sales pitch.
Yes.
You know, please do get in touch with me if you run an England boxing affiliated club and you are interested in running courses, because we are expanding and we want to get out there with the BoxWise sessions. We're providing free boxing. We will support everything, and we're looking to grow the family. So yeah, get in touch.
Yeah, definitely. What a great idea as well, because obviously, like you say, coaches obviously give up a lot of time, and then one of the barriers for sport is the cost as well, isn't it, for people to be involved as well? So what a great opportunity for people.
Yeah, and I think for clubs as well, it's come at the right time after COVID, because BoxWise will pay the club to deliver the sessions, but it's completely up to the club how they spend that money.
Yeah.
They might pay the coach, they might have bills to pay, they might spend it on equipment. We're just helping the clubs get back on their feet a little bit, and also they can use it as a recruiting tool. You can get a bunch of new kids, new young people in the gym that have never boxed before. They get 10 weeks of boxing that will pay for and provide all the equipment, and then if they are any good, or they are committed, or they do want to carry on, you know, you've got the next generation of boxers.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the perfect way, isn't it, to increase participation? Like you say, what a perfect time as well, because like you say, people might have lost some members because of COVID, but what a great way to get new people involved as well, because I think that's so important as well, isn't it, of getting people involved, especially if they've never tried it before. I think, you know, having something like a 10-week course is like the perfect amount of time as well for kids to start to know whether it's something that they love and that they want to push forward doing.
Yeah, and we're really keen on the inclusivity as well, because although it might be a way of identifying new boxers, you know, boxing is for everyone. You don't have to compete, and we've all been in the gyms where you've got kids begging to come in, and you just think, do you know what, you're never going to box, but you're really keen and you want to do this, and it's a nice way to give back to the community, get the kids off the street, get them, you know, hot meals in their bellies, and not have to worry about finding the subs.
Yes, and that is so important. I think boxing, there's a lot of like in a way Cinderella stories, isn't there, from, you know, people who've made it professional and they've come from hard times, or they've been involved with the wrong people. And I think boxing, out of all of the sports that we see, is the one that you hear a lot of stories where it's just completely changed people's lives. So obviously, like a project like BoxWise, that's perfect, isn't it, for giving people them opportunities as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we're all about. It's all about opportunities and what happens after the course.
Yeah. Oh no, brilliant. So yeah, like you've just said, obviously if people want to get involved, they just contact you, don't they? So how are people best to find you?
So we are on Instagram as BoxWise_London, or tap into Google BoxWise. We're www.boxwise.uk. Read all about us, and there's various options how to get in contact from there. And yeah, we'd love to hear from clubs who want to join the family.
Yeah, perfect, brilliant. Okay, and then just before you go, because I know you're busy, with obviously hopefully COVID coming to somewhat of an end, do we see kind of amateur boxing picking back up again, seeing a little bit more of a normal calendar going forward, do you think?
I don't think this season. I think next season things are going to get back to normal. I think in 2 seasons' time we are going to be back to normal and back at the level again.
Yeah,
like I said, we've lost some really good people, and there probably isn't the depth out there at the moment. But we've seen a lot of interest, and hopefully 2 seasons I think we'll be back.
Yeah, hopefully. And obviously BoxWise are going to help obviously get that depth back to where it needs to be, I suppose, as well.
We'll do our best.
Perfect. Rachel, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. And good luck with everything that you're doing. Obviously, keep in touch. Good luck with BoxWise as well. And hopefully that's going to be one of the keys to obviously increasing participation in boxing, which is what the sport needs.
Yeah, we hope so. Thank you, Sasha.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to our channel, where we have new videos dropping all of the time. Also head over to our social media pages, where we have the latest boxing news, as well as interviews and live coverage from boxing events.